The content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing we say or do should be considered advice. No tax, legal, accounting, investment, or any other kind of advice. Anything you invest in is at your own risk. Do your own research and consult with professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, formerly known as Terabytes. It is not Thursday, it's Friday. My schedule has been insane lately. I was in Medellin, Colombia, birthplace of Pablo Escobar and the cartel, but they're beyond that. All right, that was 30 years ago. Don't hold them to those standards. They've moved on. And then came back and had to go to New York yesterday, so I didn't have much time to prepare for the show. So if the show sucks, blame it on Steph. Steph is here today. Steph, say hi to the wonderful folks out there that are watching.
Hello, hello.
Thank God Steph's here to finally make the show run smooth. A couple early comments here. We had Gort Robot said something. He said he had to hang out with his girlfriend. We appreciate it. And hopefully your girlfriend's doing well. Take care of her. Cook her something nice, Gort Robot. Crypto Info says Luna 2.0 50 USD. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, sir. I'm not sure about that. At Ape Depto TV says gang is back. Gang is back, sir, or madam, however you are. And Crypto Info says Luna heart. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Because I didn't have much time to do any research, I did have time to get a haircut though. I am going to steal. I'm a hacker. I'm a stealer. I'm a thief. I'm going to steal an awesome thread, and this is from at Deebs_DeFi. Steph, if you could go ahead and bring my screen share up. This is going to be a great way. You could just make it full screen, actually. This is going to be a great rundown of, I think, everything going on in the ecosystem. So big shout out to Deebs_DeFi. You should definitely give them a follow if you are interested in what's going on with Terra Luna version 2. Let's talk about this. This is Terra Weekly number 13. This thread was just published, I don't know, an hour ago or so. And there's quite a lot to talk about. So, first and foremost, number 2, the second part of this thread, is Umlet will simplify digital payments on Terra. Recurring payments with an API for businesses/users to plug in their current payment system, on-ramping bank transfers with a variety of stablecoins, simple cross-border payments, which is very interesting. We want to see some cross-border capabilities, of course. And the beta launch is going to be on the 20th of October. So, we also have Pete on the line, right? And we have Joseph. So we're going to bring both of them in at a certain point, because we're talking about Obi on the show, but I want to give everybody a rundown first of what's going on, because we're here to cover the news. So keep your eye out for Umlet. That's going to be out on the 20th of October. Interested to see how the simple cross-border payments solution works. We also have Amanda Key says, ahoy, sailor. Ahoy, sailor. Ahoy to all those sailors out there. We also did an interview with Nitro, which is launching on SEI, S-E-I, and that's going to be coming out probably sometime early next week. Anyway, moving on with this thread here. LNS, Luna Name Service, is now live. Claim your on-chain name and profile for only 1 Luna. Steph, what's the current price of Luna?
Right now, it is at $2.46.
So for $2.46 US, you can claim your on-chain name and profile. And there's customizable NFT and page coming soon, so that's going to be exciting to see from the Luna Name Service. Moving right along, Ozone is back. We talked about Ozone last week. There was like an Ozone imposter that changed their name, and then they changed their name to like Ank, which is also confusing. So if the team that's trying to rip off every old project needs help with naming or branding, I'm here for you. I'll help you out. Ozone is back. This is risk management marketplace offering protection against Stater Labs liquid staking derivative Luna X. Buy protection for your assets in the event of a depeg. So this is not a depeg of like UST to the dollar. This is a depeg of Luna X from Luna itself. I think a comparable example to this would be if you consider the what was it, wrapped ETH or whatever back a couple months ago. Our friends over at 3 Arrows Capital had a lot of exposure to that, as well as UST, and the depeg of that didn't allow them. Well, it wasn't good. Let's just put it that way. So this is allowing you to basically have insurance so that Luna X stays pegged to Luna and the current spot price of Luna. So that's Ozone, which is out, of course. The Phoenix airdrop for Terra has concluded. All remained unclaimed Luna will be returned to the community pool. So per the October, actually, this is an interesting one. There was a ton of unclaimed Luna that didn't get claimed. Like it was something like less than half of the Luna that was available. The Luna V2 wasn't claimed. And this is for people that were in different pools, different whatever LPs or things outside of just having native Luna staked. And for all the complaining that people did about how their life sucks and they were going to jump off a bridge, they sure didn't take any time to actually try and claim any money that would help make them whole. So interesting that all this Luna went unclaimed. It all went back to the community pool. Hopefully, we just burn it. Let's just burn the Luna. Let's get on like the Lunk DAO train and just start burning things down. Limit orders via TFM coming soon. Limit orders on all tradable Terra tokens. Curious if this feature will also make its way into Terra Station. Of course, we did see TFM was integrated with Terra Station. TFM is basically a DEX aggregator, and they do a great job. And now limit orders are available, which it's aggregating basically your order across all DEXs. So that's an awesome feature that they came out with. USK from Team Kujira can now be bridged to Terra. So this is a decentralized stable minted from a CDP, which is a collateralized debt position. The USK, as far as I know, is very similar to a DAI. It's over collateralized, and it'll be interesting to see. There's a couple different stable coins that are creeping around in Cosmos. It'll be interesting to see if they make their way into the Terra ecosystem. I mean, basically with this USK, you can essentially bring Anchor back. I don't know what the rate is for lenders, what you're going to actually earn on that. But stablecoins help a lot of these dApps and a lot of these primitives basically make their way back to life. Kujira asked the community if they would like to see Luna as a form of collateral to mint USK. Results were split 46% yes, and 54% no. Yeah, all right. And that's pretty much it. I think we should I mean there's more here. Again, I've been traveling. I slept like 37 seconds last night. I did not prepare at all for the show. So hopefully when Pete comes on, he can carry the show. We are excited to have Pete back. We are going to talk about Obi, which is basically wallet tech. I think a good way to describe it is like the layer 0 of wallets. We don't necessarily trying to replace wallet interfaces, although we can build a wallet interface. But we're trying to build basically key management and security and integrate that in a way where people can more securely store their assets. They can onboard in an easier way, not have to manage seed phrases and things like that. So when we get Pete on, we're going to talk about that. We did launch the pilot of this product down at Cosmoverse in Medellin, Colombia. I think the pilot went very well. It was quite successful. It's always, kind of a nail biter when you have to launch software to people out in the wild, in the public, but it went well. We worked basically up to, the final seconds fixing, minor bugs in UX and stuff like that. But I'm excited to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about it on the show here with Pete. I also wrote an article. You can check it out. I think it's pinned on my profile at Pantera0x. You can check out more about Obi. But before we do that, I think, do we have Joseph on the line? Joseph wants to chime in. He wants to talk a little GMX trading, right?
Yes. You want me to bring him in?
Yeah. Before you do that, though, let me drop below my desk and change my shirt because I spilled some icy light on my shirt. So let me just drop down really quick. All right. All right, everybody. Before we get into the interview with Pete and we talk about Obi, our special project, we got to cover the Flipside Insight of the Week. Very excited about this. As you see the logo on the screen here, my friend Joseph, Casa intern from Flipside, bringing us the deets on GMX, my favorite, totally permissionless trading platform for perps. Casa, explain to me what's going on. What is this?
All right. So if you guys aren't familiar with what happens at Flipside, Flipside has this like bounty like program where there's like a basically an army of like analysts. And I'm pretty sure we're up to like 3,000, maybe even 4,000 analysts that will just answer bounties on specific blockchains that they like. And these bounties are just like questions and insights. And they'll get to go use the free app where they can query, type in some code, and get all the data on like what's going on their favorite platform. One of the platforms that like one of the chains that we have ingested the data for is going to be the Arbitrum blockchain. And so our data right now at the moment only goes as far as back as April 18th of 2022, but they are in the process of historically backfilling the rest of that blockchain's data. So at one point in time, we will have a full set. But last week or just a couple weeks ago, I was getting really excited about GMX. Like, I mean, like if you haven't paying attention to the price of like GMX, it's gone up like I think it's gone up 200% like during this bear market since like May. GMX has just been a huge platform. Everyone's trading on it. The yield that you're getting on it, I think last time I checked, the GLP yield was at like 35%. And so like it's a place for yield if you're just looking to go stake. It's a place for trading first and foremost. And so like everyone loves
it's
trading.
non-custodial, right? It's not like a FTX or a KuCoin where potentially I'm not trying to besmirch those platforms because I love KuCoin. I don't love FTX so much, but you could potentially, not your keys, not your crypto, that whole thing, right? GMX is permissionless and it's non-custodial. So you are trading directly on their platform your assets.
Precisely. Yeah. Like it's launched on two chains. It's launched on Avalanche and it's launched on Arbitrum. And you can go to these platforms and you can just trade. And you can trade with like a lot of leverage. You can trade with 30x leverage if you wanted to. But like you said, it's on chain. This is completely on chain. So like if you go over there and you trade and you get your assets back, that's going straight back to your MetaMask or whatever wallet that you have that interacts with an EVM.
Right.
And so like the reality is that when you go trade here, your crypto is actually yours. And that's kind of the reason why it's my favorite trading platform. No financial advice, obviously, but this is where I go to trade. I'll eat a little bit of gas fees. I'll eat a little bit of platform fees just because of the fact that this is my crypto that I'm trading with.
And you mentioned the GLP has a yield. Before we dive into this dashboard, I think maybe a little bit more context we're deserving of. Where does that yield come from? As far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, the traders on the GMX platform are actually trading against the GLP holders who are in the liquidity pool against those traders. So technically, you kind of want the traders to come in and lose, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's how the yield is being made. So, like, if you're a liquidity provider here at GMX, you're just banking on people coming here and just trading, and not making
You
profit.
are the casino. You are the house.
Exactly. You are the house. And so you get to be exposed to the upside or the downside of said house. And like a couple weeks ago, there was like some news breaking about how there was like some manipulation happening on the platform. Like someone was like manipulating the way that AVAX was trading on the platform so that it was like bad for the liquidity providers in the end of the day. Like the liquidity providers were getting hemorrhaged because they were intentionally like force trading on Avalanche. But that's just like by the design of how like this like how this liquidity pool trading market structure works.
Right.
It's just an inherent
I think
design.
very specifically, someone was manipulating an Oracle feed, price feed, and that was causing because it's not there's no scam wicks on GMX as they say, quote unquote, because
Yeah.
nobody can come in and like push the price one way or another. Whenever you trade on GMX, it's basically downstream from an actual price feed that's coming through an Oracle. It's not like your trades are actually dictating where the price goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And people like if you have the ability to go over there and manipulate the Oracle and like that's just how the program platform works and that's how GLP is designed to work. So it's like a risk you assume if you provide liquidity at GMX. But despite that, a lot of people are coming here and still depositing, still trying to get that safe yield without having to trade. But there's also been a huge increase in trading activity because everyone's kind of like run out of places to go in DeFi. There's just not that many places to go to and actually start trading and developing stuff on. So, or just to go get yield within DeFi during the bear market. And so, like, this is one of the things that people are finding as like a safe haven to get some like actual yield on.
All right. So, Joseph, dive into the dashboard here. What do we have going on?
All right, so this was an analysis that came from one of the data analysts that at Flipside who answers bounties. They just saw this bounty go out. I flash bountied it out. I was like, I want to know what's going on with traders, and I want to know what's going on with liquidity providers at GMX. So Jack the Guy, the head analyst who did this. If you guys are interested in Jack the Guy, definitely go to our website, check out his different types of analyses, and we'll have his Twitter profile just coming up on the screen while you're watching this. And they basically went through and they checked out what was going on the GMX platform. This very first bit is going to be about the GMX activity overview. You're going to dig in a little bit deeper into what's actually happening on the order book, what people are using to like trade with. And so this main chart here at the very beginning, you can tell that like the activity since like May was kind of just drowned out, not much going on. But then in August, we started seeing some peaks. And in September, we still have seen that kind of sustained activity. People are still coming to this platform. People are still depositing. People are still trading. And this doesn't tell you like how much one specific asset is being traded by, like if you're trading Link versus you're trading AVAX. This is just strictly what asset people are using to deposit to open up their short or long position on the platform. As you can see here, I mean, like USDC and wrapped ETH are like the lion's share of like trading assets. You take those out, then you come down to wrapped Bitcoin, and then you get into the stable coins that people are actually using to trade with. But yeah, that's kind of just the overall activity, overall trajectory of what's going on right now on the platform itself. We're just starting to see a huge amount of volume increase in actual people trading. All right, have you been one of these people, Evan?
Yeah, I do use GMX. I like to hedge my basically spot positions with shorts, very low leverage shorts. I've talked about this before, but I do see sort of like an upward trend here. And if I put my data analyst hat on and talk about it a little bit, I do think maybe the reason the trend is going up for platforms like GMX and like some of these sort of permissionless on-chain trading platforms is what we saw happen this summer with the collapse of UST, which kind of cascaded throughout the whole ecosystem. And all of a sudden, your assets that are in Celsius are no longer yours, and your assets that are in Voyager are no longer yours, right? Not your keys, not your crypto. Tale as old as time. We saw it with Mt. Gox in 2014. We saw it with, countless amounts of exchanges, centralized exchanges throughout the history of crypto. So I do think that's partially a reason why we see it. Platforms like GMX, the volume trending upward, and hopefully it continues. They had a little bit of an issue there with how the oracles kind of feed data into their trading. Someone manipulated that, but they're I'm not surprised to know that crypto is zero risk, unlike some people out there. So be mindful of that whenever you are trading assets. It's not always safe, but at least it's not a bankruptcy where you can't get your money back at all. In the case of what happened with GMX, and I think that they're going to hopefully solve some of those problems. They did just launch, and now I'm speaking totally out of my ass here. They did just launch, or not launch, but they did just come out with at least some documentation on synthetics and how that's going to launch. I haven't had a chance to look into that, but maybe that's something we can do in the near future. Joseph, I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, so actually there was a GitHub repo that was published on the GMX synthetics. And so like a lot of people were just looking at the GitHub repo. So people know that synthetics are on the way. If you're a developer, you can go actually find it. I think one of the devs at GMX just like intentionally leaked it to like see if anyone was being attentive. And so like they're working on it. It's happening. But the details aren't released in that GitHub. You don't really get to know all the details, but you do know the kind of general infrastructure that they're going to be going with synthetics. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to be seeing them actually developing that.
All right, excellent. That was the Flipside Insight of the Week. Joseph, where do people need to go to find this dashboard?
If you're interested in getting access to this dashboard, definitely head on over to the link that will be provided in the description of the video. This dashboard goes into even more detail about than just the general volume of actual trading activity. If you're interested in even seeing who the top traders are, I bet this is Evan himself right here, only executing 16 trades, making about $1 million worth of profit since April. I know Evan is just a pro trader, worked for a hedge fund back in the day, so that's probably him. So if you're interested in seeing all this information, seeing who's trading, seeing how people are performing, definitely check out that link.
All right, that was the Flipside Insight of the Week. That's ashtray money to me, Joseph. Up next, we're gonna have my old partner Pete back on the show. We're gonna talk Obi. I'm very excited about this segment. So stay tuned, and we're gonna bring him in right now. Steph, get Pete on the line.
Welcome back to Bytes, everyone. The place for news, interviews, and so much more. On how did it go? What did I say after that? Usually,
I don't know. But anyway, we're here. We're excited. We got the three musketeers back from the the show formerly known as Terabytes. That should just be the name of the show. Welcome back to the show formerly known as Terabytes, because we still haven't come up with a name for it yet. Anyway, we've got my long lost companion Pete back on the show. Very excited to cover what he's been working on. He's been heads down working on. I've helped out a little bit as well, but Pete really deserves all the credit for this one and all the responsibility should things go wrong. Pete, Obi, very excited to talk about it. We launched our pilot program, or our pilot alpha last week in Medellin, Colombia. At a high level, this is basically making onboarding and asset convenience and protection and security more normie friendly, more honestly, not even just normie friendly, but just more convenient and I don't know, like better for everybody that's a user out there, whether you're a Web3 native or you've never written down a seed phrase in your life. So, Pete, at a very high level, can you introduce us to Obi, maybe how this idea came about, and why is this an impactful development in the space of Web3?
Yeah, we came up with the idea about a year to a year and a half ago. I guess it's more closer to a year and a half now for a hackathon. We didn't actually deploy it because we were mentoring and doing content and all that. But when the Terra crash hit, it was I don't want to say silver lining, but it was like we took the opportunity to go and just build this thing. So I've been heads down doing this, and it's look right now. Wallet UX just sucks all around the board. I know there are wallet teams that are trying to build better wallets out there, but wallet UX is awful. If I'm a user coming in, I want to get into the censorship resistant crypto, right? Like I don't want to use Coinbase or app or something like that and just have my funds frozen for whatever reason, right? Whether it's legitimate or not legitimate reason. Maybe I'm, blocked for some reason that isn't actually my fault or like I shouldn't be blocked for, but it doesn't matter. I fall victim to the committees and the algorithms and my funds are just locked forever, right? That's totally possible. The whole point of crypto is censorship resistant money where entities can't do that to you, right? And but if you go get a censorship resistant like non-custodial wallet, it's a terrible, terrible experience. It's absolutely horrible. You get 24 words to write down and you're instructed not to screenshot that, but some people are going to and they're going to lose all their money. You're instructed not to like email to yourself, but some people are going to. We've seen people do it and lose all their money. You're instructed to like write them down in a safe place and not lose them, but then some people are going to lose them and lose all their money, or you're going to like have it stolen even from the place you saved it, right? Or you're going to have amnesia or something. Like there's something that's going to happen to that seed phrase where you're going to lose all your money. It's a single point of failure with just a huge attack surface, especially if people are more and more aware that everyone has this magic paper somewhere with their money basically on it. That just becomes a huge vulnerability for everyone. And we wanted to do something better with Obi, where you have multiple keys of multiple different types. And yes, you might get attacked and a key might get stolen, or you might suffer something and a key is lost, or even two keys, but like you can still recover, you can still update, so your account is whole again with the same protections it had before the attack. You still have your funds, you still have easy access, things like that. And not only did we do this in a way that is like recoverable and secure, but also best in class onboarding, because each key type, at least the ones we've deployed so far, is a really easy setup process. We figured out how to do it with patterns that feel familiar for users. Like, you keep a device on key. Well, in order to unlock that, it's just Face ID or your passcode or whatever you use. And even though that's like a key on your device, it was an easy pattern to unlock. Or you have a key that's generated from your phone number and other factors, right? It's deterministic, but it can only get sent to your phone number. And yeah, that's vulnerable to SIM swap attack, but it's guarded in some other ways. And if you're SIM swapped, that's just one of the keys. So you could still replace it out, right? But like that confirm, get a message, get a text to your phone number or to your Telegram or to your WhatsApp, that's a really familiar pattern for users. So behind the scenes, there's this whole thing going on where their transaction is getting signed by a key that is unique to them. But they're not like interacting with signatures and complicated copy and pastes and things like that. They're just getting a code to their phone. So these familiar patterns to users from Web 2, hiding new technology that is a way to do a secure multisig with all kinds of keys, is what we've built with Obi and what we're going to continue to build. Since the crash, we've hired a couple devs. We've been heads down on this. You haven't heard anything from me, of course, as you mentioned, because we've just been focusing on delivering the alpha version, which we deployed last week in Medellin, Colombia, for an event, and we're so excited to bring this to beta and to like the future until we're like fully deployed as a wallet tech stack that wallets and enterprises and people and businesses all around the world can use.
Yeah, and I think it's such a shame that when most people who are new to crypto, when they ask me how to get into the space, I I think from my own perspective, I think, wow, well, you should just get into Cosmos or get it, download this wallet and download Kepler or download Terra Station and here, write down your seed phrase. And then I immediately kind of backtrack and I'm like, wait a minute, just sign up for Coinbase and it's something you're going to be used to. I don't have to explain all these hoops and loops and blah, blah, blah. Or at least I've just pitched them on the ethos of crypto, which is sovereign money that you own and nobody else can confiscate or otherwise censor, but then turn and go, well, actually the easiest way to get it is to go on Coinbase, but then immediately get it off Coinbase, right? It's just against the ethos of why we're in this space in the first place. So I think there is a huge need and a huge hole in the market for seamless onboarding that's still secure, that's still convenient, and I think that's kind of been the whatever you want to call it, the tagline or whatever of Obi is like secure and convenient, or secure yet convenient, or convenient yet secure. It doesn't have to be a trade-off, one for the other. I do want to talk a little bit about the multi-key onboarding that you just mentioned, Pete. I think there's a very important detail, and one of maybe the major complaints that we got at Cosmoverse, and something that we want to explain, is that even though it feels very familiar to onboard like a Web 2 onboarding, like you're signing up using Google or doing an Apple Pay transaction, we're not storing any of your information, right? We're not just saying, oh, send an SMS code to yourself so that we can store your phone number in a database and know that we've authenticated your phone number is actually yours. How does it work on the back end so that people can be assured when they onboard using Obi that we're not just like creating our own honeypot of all of their sensitive information?
Right. Yeah, for sure. First, Obi Wallet's open source. It is like maybe not every single piece right now is open source. We're working it into a place where it can be securely open source, but you can go check it out. It's definitely like there's some tricks in there, like some hacky stuff because we were deploying fast, but we're not embarrassed about that. And it's open source. You can look at it, and Obi doesn't have any server. There's no backend. There are some services we use, which again will open source over time the code for those. Um, but they're serverless and storageless. So like when you do something with one of those services, like the SMS service, no data is like probably saved, unless like the entire enterprise that's running that is compromised and is doing malicious things. But again, that's just one of the keys, right? So there is a degree of trust, but it's just one of the keys. So you're sending a request and getting a signature back, but then after that, there's like no record of what happened. Besides, like if there's an error, it's maybe some error logs and so on. So like there's no storage of anything. We can see, just like anyone else can see, we can see on-chain stuff. So there's on-chain evidence that someone has created a wallet that uses the Obi contract and things like that. But there's not a phone number in there. There's not any biometric data in there. When it's Face ID, that is just using your device the same way you like unlock your device. It's just like keeping the key secure using the secure element. There's no like biometric analysis. It's just using the built-in Face ID or passcode or thumbprint or something like that in order to securely unlock, make sure it's really you so that it knows, hey, I can sign this transaction, right? There's nothing being stored. We have no way to get phone numbers. We have no way to get biometric information. We have no way to figure out the identity of your friends or anything like that. So each of these keys is running off these principles. There is an Obi key, which is an alternative to a social key. But even that, like we're still working through. Right now, it's just used for like an emergency recovery in case someone really hits something catastrophic. So anyway, yeah, I'm rambling all over the place here. Maybe I should go ahead and explain what kinds of keys are coming to like get you guys excited a little bit. We've seen what we call the biometrics key. Now we call it the device key because it's not actually your face data is not stored. It doesn't generate a key from your face or anything like that. That is just a key that's on your phone. And then you have a messaging key, which could be SMS or Telegram or WhatsApp. And that is secured not just by the fact that it can only come to you, but also in case you're SIM swapped, it's secured by a security answer. You answer a popular security question. You answer it as securely as you can. That's not stored anywhere. It's not stored on OB. There is no OB server. And then that, even in the next version, it's not even going to go out anywhere. It's already hashed in and encrypted before it's even sent off your device. So we're going to have that phone number messaging, Telegram, WhatsApp key, and then a social key, which is a friend or some other party you trust, or OB, which can help you recover. And we're working on an email recovery kit, and which is another key, but you wouldn't use it day to day. It's more for recovery. A cloud key, where your encrypted key is sent to the stored on the cloud provider of your choice, iCloud, Dropbox, Google, Proton Cloud, whatever you want to use there. And a ledger or other hardware key, maybe NFC, maybe you use a YubiKey. And then as well, we're working on a geolocation key. And there's even more to come beyond that, where you can build these options. Maybe you understand the model that your phone number, even if it's SIM swapped, that's only one of the keys and you don't lose your funds. Maybe you understand that model, but you still don't want to enter your phone number into an app. Or you don't even use Face ID for some reason. Maybe you don't trust the NIST P256, like the curve that Apple uses or something, right? You think it's got a backdoor. Right? Even if you have these concerns, you can still build your multisig with other kinds of keys that are coming soon. So it's going to be an experience that everyone can, do what feels comfortable for them while still having a degree of security and convenience that's above all the wallet options out there right now.
I actually have a
Joseph,
question.
what questions do you have?
Yeah, I'd love to break down and unpack a little bit what happens when like an end user loses access to the wallet. What if they just do not have access to one of the keys? Like let's say their phone gets stolen, they don't have access to the device key. What happens to that user? Does someone just have access to their wallet now and they can just sign transactions?
So there's a couple of things. First, if they still have their phone number, right now, they can just come in and recover the wallet. We've tested that out. We built that. So, like, if you in many countries, losing your phone doesn't necessarily mean losing your phone number, right?
Mhm.
So you get your phone number on another phone, you can still use that phone key, and then it says, "Oh, here's your wallet. Do you want to recover it?" And then you can use your friend or the OB account or whatever your other factor is to recover and reset. Basically, you update the old device, which is now lost and gone, to the new device. And this will become more
Gotcha.
secure and more easy as more keys come online. So you could use your email recovery kit, or you could like log into your Dropbox or whatever cloud provider you used and use that now. Like, you know what I mean? Even if you lose your phone, that's just one of the keys,
Yeah.
the device key. And if you are in a place where that means losing your number, which some places are, you might be on a no contract and that number is that little SIM card, you're still in a country that does that's fine. You've lost two of them now. Uh, with a 3 of 5, we ultimately hope to get to like 3 of 7 being an option. But
Wow.
with a 3 of 5 or 3 of 6 setup, which is our target for the next stage, it doesn't matter. Even if the person who got your phone could unlock it, right? They could somehow get Face ID. Maybe they're holding it up to your face, whatever, and they can like they somehow know your security answer. We tried to make them as hard to guess as possible, like who was the name of your first kiss, but like somebody could probably figure that out with time, right? Even if they get your security answer, they have your phone number and they have your device and it's unlocked, they still only have two, not three, right? And you can, by that time, or even later, because they only have two, you can shift those keys out. You activate three keys somewhere else, and you say, okay, I'm updating and replacing those keys with new keys. So you're back to having 3 of 5 or 3 of 6 solid keys that are under your control. You didn't lose any funds. You didn't lose any, other things associated with your account.
That's sick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now-
right now, people know we have to do this. There are some other wallets that have tried to do something like this, and we could talk about them if you want. But right now, the buzz is social recovery, and we think that social recovery is a piece of this, right? Like if I had a wallet and you, Joseph, and you, Evan, you were my recovery partners, and something happened, I could say, "Hey guys, I need to recover my wallet. Can you help me?" That's a problem because the government could come and say, "You guys are going to help us recover this wallet," or a hacker or some kind of evil actor of some
or
other
even
kind,
just us.
like
We could just
come with
conspire against
wrenches.
you.
Yeah, or the two
Yeah.
of you could be like, "You know what? This guy is responsible for us being involved in the Terra ecosystem. So let's just like steal his money." Like you could definitely do that, right? So we think social recovery is a piece, but it should never be strong enough to take over the whole account, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to add friend keys or family keys. You can name them as your beneficiaries where they inherit your funds if something happens to you, or you can use them as recovery partners, but that's not the whole package. That's just a piece of it.
And I think you just hinted at what's a good segue into maybe some future services of OB. The multi key, obviously, a very important piece. It helps with just your normal Web3 user and their onboarding experience. It helps with maybe enterprises who they don't want to deal with the custody of their users' assets, but they want to get into Web3, but they don't want to be responsible for whatever kind of issues come about. That's a very important piece to basically give users that familiar, easy onboarding experience without being like, oh, hey, and we've used this analogy before, but it's like, hey, grandma, write down this seed phrase on the back of a bar napkin to sign up for, whatever MLB's NFT program or something, right? It's just impossible to do a non-custodial and yet convenient way to onboard people into like a true Web3 experience. But you talked a little bit about, I'm sorry. So that's one piece is the onboarding, which is patent pending, by the way. But the other piece and some of the like kind of forward looking features that we're excited about, and you hinted a little bit about, is like inheritance, and this is using permissions accounts as we've coined the term, which basically allows a user to delegate permissions of another account to access the funds or the assets of their primary account. So if you sign up for a primary account using OB's multi-sig, or if it's even just like a hardware wallet or something that you feel is secure enough, you can basically delegate a certain permission that allows a secondary account to use it. So like the most basic example of this would be if you have cold storage and then you want to have a hot wallet that can, you can go and kind of more conveniently transact with. Let's say there's a dip and you want to buy the dip, or let's say there's an NFT mint that you just found out about, but it's going to, it's going to sell out in a second, and all of your funds are back in Montana on a ledger somewhere, and you're totally shit out of luck. Or let's say you need to vote on emergency governance because the stable coin of your beloved network has totally depegged, and now there's a chance at some sort of governance attack. All these things that need to be done quickly are very hard if you sort of live on that very secure side of the spectrum where you're keeping things in cold storage, or you're keeping things on a hardware wallet that's maybe off limits to obviously potential hackers, but obviously but also rather yourself. It becomes inconvenient for yourself, and so there's a way to basically create a secondary account with a spend limit, so it's still spending the funds of your primary account, but there's a limit to it, and you can actually dictate what that limit is, sign it off with your main account what that limit is, and then say you accidentally enter your seed phrase into a spoofing website. Well, they can't hit you for your whole stack, right? It's just an amount that you've set, and there's other instances of this. Pete mentioned inheritance. Maybe we can talk about that briefly as well. So I don't know which direction you want to go in with permissions, Pete, if you want to expand on that at all.
Yeah, sure. So spend limit, we actually had this for the alpha, the event we've been mentioning, which we should talk about soon, where we kind of dropped between alpha and beta version of the product. Um, We turned it off because we didn't want to complicate onboarding and increase our like failure surface, right? It was the first time we had tried OB onboarding at mass scale, had hundreds of people signing up and using it to mint NFTs and send tokens and receive tokens and updates and like recover their multi-sig and try recovering their wallet and so on. But it's, we've already built out this function, and like the idea is you have this multi-sig, like 3 of 6, for example. You don't want to be going to buy a drink at the bar for $6, and you have to like, so get a text to your phone number after entering your security answer and enter that, and then you have to have your device key, and then you have to do something else like ask your friend or get an email or like use your ledger. Like you don't want to have this 3-step process, right? That's just not ideal. So you can have hot wallets with spend limits and with other kinds of permissions, like maybe trading NFTs on your favorite NFT trading websites, or trading on dexes or whatever, and up to a certain limit, or spending up to $400 a day. I'm just picking a number. And then if you're under that threshold, then you just have to use one key, which is probably just your Face ID. Or if you're not into that, then it's like a phone number confirmation, right? So you're just using one key, but if someone gets a hold of that key, or if you connect to a bad website, like you said, then they won't be able to drain your account. It won't be able to do a transaction for over that amount, and you'll suddenly be prompted for multi-sig. And you'll take a step back and be like, wait a minute, I'm just trying to spend $5 and it's asking for my multi-sig. It's saying this is a significant transaction, and that'll prompt you to be more careful about it, to look into it or whatever, right? So you still have the security of having the multi-sig, but now you have this convenience for smaller amounts to just be able to use one key to do things. And if that key gets completely stolen or phished or compromised, you can update and you lose the daily spend limit. Let's say you've set it to $100 a day. Yeah, someone might spend up to the $100, but you just update the keys and you're good to go again. Right. So it's this balance between security and convenience, entirely customizable up to you. You could set it to $10. You could set it to never do that, where you always have to sign with multi-sig. You could have multiple wallets with relationships, all sorts of things. And this includes kind of an inheritance idea, right? We're authorizing a single key to have permissions to use the funds under certain conditions, namely that they're under $400, right? Or under $100, or that they're NFT trades on this website, right? But suddenly think about that. You can take those permissions and apply them in other cases. You could say, my wealth manager, you have the authorization to trade, but you can't withdraw funds, and you can't update my multi-sig, and you can't like there's all these other things you can't do, but you can trade on these certain platforms in a way that I can see, in a way that you are not holding custody of my keys. It's not custodial for you. Even though you get the AUM, you get the assets under management boost, you're managing my assets. You don't have to deal with custody because you don't actually have the keys. And like I've just used that permissions model, which I was talking about with my own phone, to give permissions to someone else. Or maybe you have, like you said, an inheritor, you have a potential beneficiary, someone you want to get your money. But you can set this up however you want. Maybe you can set it up so that if your account does nothing for 12 months, and we'll have the wallet, ping you, hey, you're doing nothing, and your inheritance might activate, right? If your account does nothing 12 months, and then your inheritors, it could be like a 1 of 3 multi-sig, it could be 3 different people, whatever, because you don't know who's going to be around or who's going to bother. If they will get a certain percentage per month after that. So this is my ideal setup, right? After like 6 months, the people I've named get access to like 5% of current funds per month. Right, so they have access to this kind of slowly diminishing amount over time. They start to get more and more. But like, if something happened to me, maybe I noticed, maybe I've just been taking a break for a year, then my account isn't drained. If I've been in a coma, or incarcerated in some crazy overseas prison for sedition or something like that, right? Then like I come out, I still have funds, right? So there's all kinds of setups I can do where the inheritors get access to my assets over time. And that's just another example. This is the third example now of what you can do with account relationships with this kind of Zapier uh, relationship manager for accounts, where your Obi wallet can have other wallets that have permissions under certain conditions or after certain time periods or with certain limits.
Okay, so I'd love to get into a little bit of the perspective of an actual user who's like interacting with DeFi, because you know me, I like to interact with random blockchains. I like to go explore, kind of go into the depths to get some yield on different chains. From my perspective as a DeFi user, is this going to seem clunky? Is this going to be kind of an encumbersome experience for me to be able to interact with some random Cosmos chain, or then to go over to Arbitrum and trade on my favorite GMX perpetuals platform? So yeah,
Uh,
basically.
I'll leave it to Evan. Evan, what were some of the comments you heard about the onboarding for Obi for the event?
Yeah,
What was it?
so
Smoothest onboarding ever, I believe, was one of them.
ooh, I did hear that. I also heard somebody say it's their favorite wallet, even though I, we must admit that for the event, and maybe this is a good time to dive into what we actually have delivered so far, because right now we're talking about a lot of things that are sort of in under construction. Um, for the event, we partnered with Loop. A lot of people from the Terra world probably familiar with them. They needed a wallet for an event that they were doing. We had talked to them at Consensus back in June, and we were basically just pitching our idea just to everyone, just to get feedback, saying, "Hey, here's what we're building. We've got some mock-ups, blah blah blah." And they were like, "Well, holy shit, we need a wallet for this event we're hoping to do at Cosmoverse. Uh, could you guys build it?" And I think that's part of where our business model works as well. Is, we are building wallet features. We're not necessarily, even though we will probably well, no, we will definitely build like a standalone, but we want to be able to build sort of these security features that other wallets can use as well. So we're not just trying to compete with all the wallet builders out there, and
Gotcha.
like replace them. We can actually do like a Kepler drop in, and work, hand in hand with some of these other solutions. So but anyway, back to the alpha. What we did was we onboarded people with a one of three, so not the most secure, but again with limited time. This was pretty much
Definitely
just the
not the
test.
most secure.
Yeah, this was definitely just the test, and it could have easily been upgraded to a 3 of 3 or a 2 of 3, but a 3 of 3 in that case, if you do lose your phone, you can't even recover it. So anyway, what we did was we did onboarding, and then through Loop, we had a web view where people could purchase tickets to the event. So we actually had NFT tickets that were used and scanned at the entrance to gain entrance to the event, which is the first that I think Peter and I have seen that happen. And you could also redeem staked NFT for a drink. So people were getting free drinks and using it. The feedback really from most people was the hardest part about it was on ramping, not onboarding. So the hardest part was getting Juno. We built it on the Juno network, which is where Loop lives. The hardest part was getting funds into their wallet, which is kind of out of our control, right? Our goal is for this to be people's primary wallet, and then move funds over into it, people that are experienced. But we also even did fee lending, which Pete can talk more about, where whenever you open up a MetaMask wallet for the first time, you have to send ETH to it in order to pay for gas in order to do a transaction. So we actually have a way that we can send you a little bit of funds upon opening your wallet, and it's enough to do those first couple of transactions to get you started. Pete, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, sure. That's another part of when we say patent pending, it's to protect ourselves from somebody going out and get a patent on these things and then coming after us, right? But like one of those is kind of a fee lending mechanism where we could use fee grant with Cosmos, but we didn't for this event. You're actually provided Juno. We did it for a very specific technical reason rather than use fee grant. Well, you're provided some Juno. It's a very little amount, and then you have a bit of a debt on your wallet. Again, we're talking like, I don't know, 20 cents, 10 cents, something like that, right? You have a bit of fee debt that is repaid whenever you send like some stable coins or some Juno or some other asset out of the wallet later. So you're covered whenever you're trying to transact. If you don't have the fees, you're not given that insufficient fees warning. Your fees are actually provided for you, which is why sometimes the confirm screen has a little bit of a hiccup. The fees are given to your account so that you can transact, and then they'll be repaid later whenever it's convenient for you. Uh, will work a little bit on this mechanism, but it worked pretty smoothly. Like people had to send in some funds to buy the tickets, but they didn't have to send funds during onboarding to all these various keys in order to create their wallet and things like that. And if they came in, let's say they had 5 USDC to buy a ticket with, and they didn't have any Juno, it didn't matter. They could still mint the ticket because of this fee lend system that we have.
Right. And just to kind of answer your question, Joseph, more directly, because I know we just took a really long route away from your
Case
answer.
study. Y'all gave me a
Um,
case study. That's
yeah,
it.
with the alpha and with like the current Loop wallet, it is there's limited scope, right, for the party. Now, moving forward, we're going to continue to support the Loop wallet and build in more and more functionality. I also talked about or mentioned earlier a standalone Obi wallet. So just any Joe Schmo, any Joe intern that wants to come along and download it will be able to. And that's going to be work across pretty much all the Cosmos networks, or at least the ones that are easiest to integrate with for now. I think in the future, our vision is that a user can come in. They don't need to even change networks. They just, as soon as because there's a browser feature, and it's very similar to like the home screen on Apple with, you've got your apps and you can slide around and stuff. Eventually, the plan is that no matter what DApp you go to, we can just auto detect if you have assets on that network, and you don't even need to, make 5 extra taps to change networks. So it could just be one place for all your assets across different chains. Obviously, this is a bit in the future as well, but
Yeah.
it's all under this umbrella of this secure on ramp solution with for assets, no seed phrase. You don't have to worry about, what, like, did I write my seed phrase down correctly? Blah, 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 all the stuff that Pete already went over. And then of course, permissions come in at a later point, which that we start to get some really, really interesting use cases for permissions. Like when we were pitching this initially, somebody had brought up, they were like, well, what if I have an account for my wife and then I get a divorce? Like, can I revoke her access to my funds? And you can with permissions, because you basically, you're in control of what the permissions are set on each of those sub accounts. So there's a lot of different things at play here. I will say, if you're listening to this and you want to run and go download the Loop instance, it's limited for now. But this is really just the alpha launch, and just to prove that this was possible. And definitely a lot of work went into it, and it still was impressive. I had one guy told me it was his favorite wallet ever. I was like, well, a favorite wallet to use every day, I'm not sure. Yeah, but
please don't store all your money in it yet.
yeah. So, but yeah, we're excited to move forward with a lot of this functionality and make it kind of that, if you're a DGen, no matter what chain you're on, it's easy to use, and it's secure, but it's still convenient, right?
Yeah. I mean, just from the perspective of the fact that you can control multiple keys, you can control it at this like almost API level. That's really interesting. That in of itself is just so paradigm shifting compared to other wallet infrastructures, because I don't think anyone else has thought of how can I make and segment out the wallet experience. So the way that you guys have been hypothesizing, to where it's like you have a wealth manager, you have the wife that you don't think you're going to get divorced to, but you might get divorced to. So it's just the reality of that situation. I don't think that's occurred to any kind of wallet infrastructure yet. And so I think that the very contemporary solutions that exist in the wallet infrastructure world, they haven't even started broaching this conversation of discussion. And it's insane to think that this is just kind of ripe for the taking.
Right. And I think a lot of the, wallet UX does suck. It takes a while to get used to if you're not in crypto. But I think there is good wallet UX that's coming out, like Leap, for example. We spoke with the guys over at Leap. We saw a little demo. The UX is great, but we're not really trying to come in and like from the interface UX perspective so much as like the foundations of when you onboard, when you create the wallet, how are your assets secure? That's really our perspective, is like we're almost taking a step back further than how is the user necessarily interacting with transactions and things on chain. And of course, I mean, we're putting thought towards that as well. But I think our mission is going to be to partner with people who maybe have a more like a more concise sort of definition of what those things are, and let us come in and be the ones that can take their mind off of the custodianship, the the risks and stuff like that. So we can be the layer 0 of wallets. That might have to be our tagline.
Layer
Obi is
zero
the layer
wallet.
0 of wallets.
Oh no, not another layer 0. Sorry, anyone who's into a layer 0, but
ZK
yeah,
roll up
no,
of wallets.
it's a good point. We've called it wallet tech, although I prefer like passport tech or something like that. I was unable to share screen on my phone because Restream. So I have the simulator up on my desktop. Let me make sure
We
I
would
don't have any
absolutely love to see the
embarrassing
demo.
or compromising icons on my desktop. Oh, it's upside down. How nice. All right, so let's see if we got it up here. Here we go, loop. All right, the app is building right now. So we'll see a demo in a minute as it installs on my little iPhone simulator here. Again, this was definitely like an alpha version, and Obi is not this wallet. Obi is the technology behind this wallet, right? So it's the wallet tech that was used for onboarding and account management and recovery and so on. That said, Evan, we did build the front end, didn't we? The whole front end.
Yes,
So
we
we
did.
do dabble. We do dabble in front ends.
We do dabble.
So this is what people used at Cosmoverse. Like this is the
This
wallet
is
they
what
used to
people
interact.
used. I
This
haven't
white-
run it on
this
this
white
like
blank screen.
I haven't run it on. Oh, okay. Well, I haven't run it on this this device quite yet. The most recent form I was using my real phone. So let's try to log out and see what happens. Okay, this is definitely an older version, but you'll get the point here. These are some like dev buttons we were using where you could recover your wallet or use a single sig mode. And you come in and you create a biometrics key, which is now called the device key. And it's just an on-device key, and then you're done. And then you enter a security answer, say for you pick a question here. So I'm going to pick what city and country I was born in, and use my I'm going to say, wow, I'm typing skills on this new keyboard are really bad. Oh, it switched keyboards on me for some reason. I'm going to say I was born in Shangri-La, China, and then enter my phone number, which I could enter here. You know what? I'm just going to enter it. Spam me if you want. SIM swap me. I don't care. I get a magic SMS. Now on my device, I would be able to fill this out immediately by tapping. But here, since I'm on my computer, it gave me my SMS on my phone. So I'm going to enter this SMS code, and that not only creates my phone key, but it funds it a little bit and like gets it on chain and like gets the public key back so that I can make the multi-sig. Okay, and then this is just showing because I did that log out thing. I already have one, so I can now set a social key of a friend. I can use a QR scanner in the latest version. It's an older version. And scan a friend's wallet if I trust them to help me recover, or I can use the Obi account if I want to use Obi as a recovery partner. And so that was it for the onboarding process. You then get your to create an Obi wallet. So you have to sign the transaction. Again, this is an old version. I'm sorry, I don't have the latest version. But once you sign the transaction, which you can come over and check out the data here, you can sign it with your Face ID, which I just did. And then on chain, my Obi wallet is created. It's a smart wallet, so it does have to like deploy a smart contract. And there it is. I have this Obi or this Juno address now. Juno is the chain we used for the event. And I can receive tokens as normal, send tokens as normal, go to NFTs, maybe go to some apps in my app page, browse the web and add apps here, just trade natively here on a local. It's not natively, it's actually pulling up a web view, but trade on my preferred DEX here. And I can even come in and replace a key, for instance. Again, we have more keys coming: email and cloud and device and location and so on, and another super secret type, an NFC. But you can come in and tap a key and say, hey, I want to replace this key. Maybe I got a new phone, and then that brings you back to updating the phone key. So you can like follow basically the same flow to update the key. And same thing, if you like don't trust your friend anymore, you can come and say, well, I want to replace this social key. So this is a little demo of an older version, but pretty much the same experience we deployed at this event for the wallet, and things are just going to get better from here.
Yeah, and I just want to basically, since I know a lot of our audience is all people in the Terra community, we did receive emergency funding from the Terra V2 emergency fund pool. We deferred the last portion of that funding until we stand up a version of this that's just OB branded for basically the Terra network. So everybody that's watching and wondering like, what the hell, this is for Juno, when can I use it for Terra? That's pretty much our next objective here. Pete, when can our viewers expect that?
Soon. It depends on, like, that's more the dev side of that. We want to add some like polish some things. We have like a little laundry list of things, improvements to make to the current application. And then we can expect it soon. It's not any different to deploy to Terra than to Juno. It's the same contracts, same front end, same communication protocols and everything. So basically, we just have to flip Juno to Terra, and it'll work out of the box.
Excellent. All right, Joseph, any other questions from you?
No, I think this wallet stuff is incredibly interesting. I'm excited to actually get to play around with it. You guys still haven't given me beta access, so
You can play around with it now. There's a public test flight link, and it's
sent you
also
a test flight link,
it's actually available on the
Okay.
Android Google Play Store. Again, it's an early version. Please do not save your life savings there. We can't even guarantee like that the longevity will, like, there might be a breaking change at some point. So like, play around with it, experiment with it, and take it as a sign of things coming soon.
So,
Pete, anything else that you want to add before we wrap up here?
Interchain. So I've been saying like, hey, we'll take Juno and just flip it to Terra, and then it'll work on Terra. Well, we're definitely working on several ways to have it so that your OB just works on any Cosmos chain or even beyond, as though it were native. So like, you don't even have to go switching. You know how in current wallets, if you go to an app that's like on Ethereum and you're on Polygon, or you're on Cosmos and it's on Arbitrum, it like warns you can't connect to this. Well, we don't want that experience. We want you to be able to opt in to just like automatically connecting to applications, and you can receive USDC from any chain, no matter what you're on, what your core OB wallet's on. This interchain experience is something that we're seeing really grow in the Cosmos ecosystem, but other chains are connecting to it too. Near is turning on IBC. Other chains are working on activating IBC. Rumors of Polygon with IBC and so on. And ultimately, we want OB to be like, hey, I created an account, and now I can use my assets, use my account, receive assets, no matter what application I'm using, no matter what chain it's on, no matter what chain the originating assets are on, and smooth that out. So even though we're going to deploy a version on Terra, and there's a version currently on Juno, eventually all this might just be one and the same technology. And that's what we're working towards as quickly as we can.
Where do the people need to go to find out more information about this amazing wallet technology, Pete?
Follow the new OB_money_. We followed a tradition another account had of adding an underscore after money, because OB_money was taken. So go to OB_money_ at Twitter, and follow there for the latest updates.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been another episode of the show formerly known as Terabytes. Thank you so much, Pete, for rejoining and coming out of your cave to show your face. Everybody's missed you a lot, and it seems to me as though Cosmoverse. It seemed to me as though when I was at Cosmoverse, it was a success. We had to work pretty hard to get things in order up to then, but we're excited to continue building this out. Excited to see some of these features come to life. As Pete said, follow us at OB_money_ on Twitter. Don't follow any of the people trying to pretend to be us. Follow the real one. And as always,